Long, long ago, when the world was still young, people lived in ways that made the earth heavy with sadness. The stories tell us that the hearts of many were filled with thoughts that grieved the world and the sky. The earth, once full of beauty and peace, was covered with shadows. In those days, there lived a man named Noah. He was gentle and kind, and he walked through life with a quiet goodness. It is said that Noah was a good man, someone who tried hard to live rightly in a time when many others did not. The world around Noah was changing, not gently, but in ways that were troubling. The clouds that passed overhead seemed darker, and the winds whispered warnings that were hard to hear, but real all the same. The stories passed down tell us that God looked upon the earth and saw much sadness and harm caused by the actions of people. Among all this, something special happened. The story tells us that God spoke to Noah. It is not clear exactly how this happened, perhaps in a dream or a quiet moment under the stars, but the message was gentle and serious. God said to Noah that a great cleansing was coming, a flood that would pour down upon the earth to wash away its sorrow. Noah listened carefully. Even though the news was heavy, there was comfort in the way the message was given. Noah was told to build a large boat, called an ark. This ark would be a safe place, a refuge from the flood that was to come. The time for this was still uncertain, but it was clear Noah was to prepare. The ark was to be very large, made from sturdy wood, hammered and sealed carefully to be strong against the rising waters. Noah began this work slowly and patiently, taking his time with every board and nail. It was a quiet kind of work, done with care and thoughtfulness. Noah did not build the ark alone. He had his family with him, the people closest to him who shared his quiet spirit. They worked together day by day as the seasons moved softly across the land. As Noah built, people around him watched and wondered. Some might have been curious, others might not have understood, but Noah kept working, steady and calm. The story tells us that Noah found favor, a special kindness and trust from God, even when the world felt heavy and uncertain. Noah gathered animals to shelter in the ark, animals of every kind. The story says they came 2 by 2, gentle and wild creatures, each one a small part of the earth's heart. Noah cared for them as gently as he cared for his family, and the great ark slowly taking shape. The days grew longer, and the sky sometimes seemed full of quiet warning. Noah and his family finished the ark, and the animals found their places inside. The story says that then the rains began, not just a few drops, but great steady showers that lasted many days. The earth started to fill with water, rivers swelled, and valleys filled. The waters rose higher and higher, covering the tallest mountains eventually. The ark floated on the waves, moving softly, guided by the quiet hand of care. Inside the ark there was a gentle rhythm, the sound of water outside, the soft breathing of animals resting, the calm moments Noah and his family shared. This was a time of waiting, of trust, a story told slowly to remind us of patience and hope. Outside, the world was different now, a wide and endless sea touching the sky. But inside, the ark was a calm and steady place, a quiet pause amidst the storm. Noah looked out through a small window and saw the endless water, and in his heart he held a quiet faith that the calm would come again someday. The story gently suggests that this was not just a moment of ending, but also a beginning. And so the ark floated, carried by the waves, as the story waits for the time when the waters will go back, and the earth will smile once more under the sun and the stars. The story of Noah reminds us of a deep, quiet hope, a hope carried softly through the rain, held close in the stillness of the ark. It invites us to listen carefully to the sounds around us and to the gentle voice of trust, even when the world feels uncertain. This is the story as it has been told, a story wrapped in care and soft words, a story not yet finished, still unfolding in the quiet moments of time. Days passed within the ark's wooden womb. The rain had ceased falling, no longer a curtain upon the windows, no longer a murmur overhead, yet the waters, vast and endless, cradled the ark in their gentle sway. The sky, a blanket of soft gray, hinted at the lingering presence of the flood, but promised eventual light. The inside of the ark was alive with quiet motion, a symphony of breaths, paws, hooves, and wings folded carefully in rest. Noah moved slowly and with reverence among the creatures, speaking softly, his voice a gentle thread weaving calm throughout the confined space. Each day the animals stirred, ate, drank, and slept, trusting in the rhythm their captor had created for them. Noah's family worked alongside him, tending to tasks without hurry or complaint. There was cleansing and feeding, mending and comforting. They spoke little of the past or what might lie beyond the waters. Instead, they focused on the present, on nurturing life in the ark's embrace, on singing soft songs to the day's quiet hours. The world outside, hidden under a veil of endless water and sky, was a canvas washed clean. The mountains, once tall and proud, were now islands beneath the vast ocean. The forests, once dense and full of birdsong, had disappeared into a silent world beneath the flood. Yet inside the ark, life pulsed steadily, a delicate flame preserved in the heart of the storm's aftermath. Noah often stood by a small window carved into the side of the ark, watching the water ripple and roll beneath a wide, leaden sky. He would breathe deeply, feeling a serene trust grow within him, as if the very air carried a promise whispered on the wind. This was not merely survival, it was a sacred pause, an opportunity to begin afresh. One morning, a gentle warmth filtered through the clouds, softening the edges of the horizon. A pale light spread across the ark's wooden beams, bringing with it a subtle sweetness in the air. Noah felt a stirring deep inside, a quiet assurance that the divine plan was unfolding as it should. He gathered his family together, their faces illuminated by the soft light, and spoke with a voice steady and calm. Though the waters still surround us, and the earth is veiled, hope is not lost. This ark is shelter, a haven of mercy. We wait not for the storm to end alone, but for the moment when the earth will breathe anew. Outside, the rain clouds slowly thinned, revealing patches of pale blue sky. Above the ark, birds that had been silent began to stir, their tentative songs reaching out into the vastness. The air shifted, carrying the faintest sense of green and growing things, hinting at life beneath the receding flood. Time flowed softly, measured by the turning of days and nights inside the ark. The animals, too, sensed a change. Paws tapped more eagerly, wings fluttered with cautious hope, eyes blinked against the growing light. Noah and his family continued their care, attentive and gentle, their hearts anchored in faith. At last, Noah released a dove through the ark's small open window. The bird flew forth, a silver symbol against a sky clearing of storm. Minutes stretched as they watched, breath held, and then the dove returned, its wings damp and empty. The earth below was still a water world, yet the gesture was a silent prayer carried on feathered wings. Days later he sent the dove out again. This time it did not return. Signs of land lay hidden, but the dove's flight whispered reassurance. Noah's heart rose quietly. The day would come when feet would touch earth again, when the ark would rest upon soil reclaimed by sky and sun. Then the waters began to recede, drawing back slowly, revealing the land's edges like whispered secrets returning from the deep. The ark settled gratefully upon the top of a mountain, its sturdy frame rooted at last. Within, a stillness fell, not of fear, but of gentle gratitude. Noah unlatched the door and opened it wide to light and air. Creatures poured forth cautiously at first, then with growing freedom. Wings unfolded, paws stretched, and the earth's scent filled nostrils and hearts conditioned to longing. It was a moment of quiet wonder, life released once more into a cleansed and waiting world. Noah stepped down from the ark, his feet touching firm ground, the soil soft and welcoming beneath him. His family surrounded him, smiles gentle, eyes moist with the gravity of new beginnings. Together they walked the land, the fresh earth beneath a sky sweeping clear and bright. Noah knelt then, his hands pressed into the soil, a prayer of thanks rising like fragrant smoke. Around him, the animals found new pastures and places to roam. The ark stood silent behind them, a shelter whose purpose had passed for now. In this moment, Noah understood something deep and unspoken. The flood had been an ending, yes, but more profoundly it was a beginning, a renewal traced softly in the contours of the earth. The world was different, shaped anew by waters, but also by hope and covenant. As the sun rose higher, warm and golden, Noah lifted his eyes and saw the vast sky stretching wide and endless. The clouds flew free, and in the distance a great bow of colors shimmered, a promise, shining with quiet light. Noah smiled gently, a man who had weathered the storm and emerged with steady heart. Life was fragile, but beautiful. Destruction was not the end, but a path toward mercy and growth. And so, with a steady breath and a hopeful step, Noah and his family began again. Their story, a testament to patience and faith, carried softly forward on the breeze, an echo of grace to cradle the world's future. The days after the ark's resting were tender with quiet discovery. The world breathed fresh, cool air, untouched by the flood's heavy hands. Morning light spilled softly across fields newly washed clean, the scent of earth moist with promise. Noah stepped lightly on the soil, crisp beneath his feet, each small crunch a reminder that life had persisted through the long, turbulent night. Around him, the animals moved with a cautious grace. Some lingered close, their eyes bright with curiosity, but laced with uncertainty. Others ventured further, with tentative steps, exploring the plains that stretched beyond the mountains, where the ark now lay still a refuge, still a symbol of shelter in a changed world. The family shared silent moments, each lost in reflection, their thoughts weaving memories of the past and hopes for days yet to come. Quiet whispers traveled between them, a tapestry of gratitude threaded with questions about what path lay ahead. Noah's wife gathered herbs and tender shoots, her fingers tracing the veins of fresh leaves, as though reading a map of God's renewal. Their son spoke softly of what they might do, of how they could nurture this fragile beginning. Slowly, they all adjusted to the rhythm of a land reborn, touched by mercy and shaped by patience. At night the sky unfolded stars in splendid clarity, untouched by city or fire. The air held a sacred stillness, broken only by the soft breathing of sleeping creatures and the gentle rustling of leaves. Noah found comfort in these quiet hours, feeling the vastness above him mirror the depth within. His spirit settled into a calm trust, knowing the covenant painted in the heavens was a bond unbroken, a promise of mercy to every living thing. Days turned to weeks. The rains that had fallen ceased to sing on the rooftops, replaced by a gentle breeze that carried seeds and scents across the land. Green unfurled like a soft blanket over fields and hillsides, and fresh streams wove through the valleys, clear and playful. Noah and his family carefully tended their new home, building modest shelters and planting food to sustain them. They understood the importance of balance, nature's kindness and challenge intertwined as before. Each step forward was a quiet act of faith, a silent vow to honor the gift they had been given. The animals grew strong in their freedom. The mighty beasts stepped proudly through the forests, the winged creatures soared into the crisp air, and the smaller ones darted among the grasses with a joyous energy that mirrored the bright sun overhead. Life bloomed in myriad colors and songs, a symphony of renewal beneath the endless sky. On a still afternoon, Noah gazed toward the horizon, where the clouds had softened into wisps of pearl and gold. The rainbow shimmered faintly there, its arches a living reminder of the promise made. He felt a deep swell of peace settle in his heart, a quiet certainty that mercy would indeed shape the days to come. This was more than survival. It was a sacred beginning, a chance to walk gently on the earth as stewards of all God's creation. His thoughts returned to the ark, now empty but full of memories. It stood as a testament to endurance and trust, an emblem of how grace can carry through even the darkest storms. Noah traced its worn timbers with reverence, knowing that within its walls lived the breath of hope that had brought life through the flood. As twilight deepened, the family gathered once more in prayer. Words flowed softly, thanks given for protection and renewal, voices lifted in unity and love. The night wrapped around them like a gentle song, reminding them of the fragility and wonder of this second chance. In this moment of tranquil clarity, Noah smiled, steady, hopeful, and humble. The earth beneath was firm, the sky above endless, and the path ahead lit by the promise of mercy's hand. Life, delicate and fierce all at once, stretched forward, a silent invitation to walk faithfully into the dawn of all that was yet to be. Days drew on, and with each dawn the earth breathed a little easier. Noah rose early, his hands weathered but patient as he worked alongside his sons. They lifted beams, shaped with care, creating frames for homes that would stand steady through all seasons. The scent of fresh-cut wood mingled with the scent of moist loam and the gentle rustle of new leaves. Evenings were soft and quiet. Around a small fire, the family shared stories, of times before, of dreams ahead. Laughter sometimes sprang like tender shoots, fragile yet persistent. The children of the family grew bold in their steps, slipping between fluttering wings and bounding paws without fear. The animals, once timid and uncertain, now moved with growing assurance across the land. Deer stepped lightly through dew-kissed grass, their eyes wide with wonder. Birds soared above, their songs weaving with the whispers of the wind. The echo of hooves and the murmur of fur-clad forms filled the cool air. Noah gazed often toward the distant horizon, where the rainbow lingered, soft colors bending low, significant as a promise tireless and true. It stretched like a bridge of peace, connecting earth and sky, reminding him that mercy had found a permanent home in the heart of creation. His wife, steady and strong, tended the small garden beside their shelter. She knelt with quiet dignity, her hands sifting through rich soil, planting seeds of herbs and tender plants that would heal body and spirit alike. Each sprout was a whisper of hope, a testament to life's unyielding rhythm. At times, the family gathered near the ark's grand stillness. It loomed as a testament to trials endured and lessons learned. Though empty, its timbers held a sacred resonance, a vessel that had cradled them through the tides of despair. Now, it stood as a monument to perseverance and grace. The days lengthened, and the seasons shifted gently. Clear streams ran with sparkling water, threading through valleys wide and welcoming. Green fields stretched farther than eyes could see. Fertile and lush, seeds carried on the breeze settled into earth, blossoming silently into abundance. Noah watched as creatures of all kinds thrived. Wolves and lambs walked in distant harmony. Eagles took lofty flight, their shadows briefly cooling patches of sunlit earth. All of creation seemed to hum anew, alive with wonder and unspoken understanding. Among the family, conversations deepened with tender care. The son spoke softly of stewardship, how to walk lightly upon the world, respecting each blade of grass and every living breath. Plans were made not just for survival, but for nurture, for harmony. One evening, when the sky held the first hint of twilight, they gathered beneath the vast canopy of stars so clear and undimmed. The constellations seemed to shine with a gentle reassurance, ancient and steadfast. Here they whispered prayers of gratitude, words woven with humility and awe. Noah's heart was full as he pondered the cycle of life restored. The earth's wounds, though fresh in memory, were healing with steady grace. The sorrow of loss was tempered by the gift of renewal, a chance to begin again with mindful love. In this sacred moment, the family felt a kinship not only with one another, but with every living thing. The boundary between human and animal, earth and sky, was softened by shared fate and mutual care. They were stewards, guardians of this new chapter. When the morning sun rose again, it did so over a world transformed. Soft rains fell, blessing the land and filling rivers anew. Seeds took root deeper, leaves unfurled with vigor, and life sang its quiet triumph in the spaces between. Noah stood at the edge of a gentle hill, overlooking fields awakening. In his eyes was a calm resolve, a promise carried far beyond the floodwaters or the ark itself. To honor the fragile gift of life, to walk humbly in grace, and to cherish the enduring bond of mercy. As days turned to weeks, the family's bonds grew stronger, woven together by shared labor and faith. They learned to listen to the wind's murmur, the animals' calls, and the steady beat of their own hearts. In this attentive silence they found peace. The ark, once a refuge, was now a memory wrapped in sacred reverence. Its story filled their prayers, a reminder of trials overcome and the sustaining power of divine compassion. And so, under expansive skies and amid flourishing fields, Noah's family embraced their new life. They walked gently upon the earth, their spirits lifted by the rainbow's eternal arc, a symbol not only of promise, but of hope restored. In quiet moments, when the night was still and the stars whispered softly above, they knew the mercy that had carried them through the flood would guide them forevermore. Each step, each living thing bore witness to this enduring grace. The world, renewed and tender, welcomed them with open arms. Here, amid the soft stirrings of creation reborn, Noah found favor once again, not merely as survivor, but as faithful steward of a fragile, beautiful gift. In the quiet mornings, soft light would spill through the trees, casting a golden glow across the land. Noah often rose before the sun, breathing in the stillness that settled over the fields and forest. The air was fresh and pure, alive with the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant calls of birds awakening. It was in these moments that he felt the deepest connection, not just to the world around him, but to the promise that had been given, the trust that had been placed in his family, and in all living beings. The garden where his wife tended the herbs and plants had flourished. Small blossoms of lavender and sage grew tall beside tender shoots of mint and chamomile. There were delicate sprigs of thyme and rosemary, their scents mingling in the morning air. These plants were more than mere greenery, they were symbols of healing, whispered prayers held in leaf and root. Every day she worked with gentle hands, nourishing the soil and carefully recognizing each herb's value. The garden was a sanctuary, a living prayer of resilience and renewal. Beyond the garden's edge, the streams continued to run clear and pure. Water danced over smooth stones, singing a soft melody that mixed with the ever-present hum of life. Fish glided beneath the surface, their scales catching sunlight like scattered jewels. Near the banks, the delicate footprints of deer wove through the grasses, and the low hum of busy insects carried the steady rhythm of the earth's ongoing dance. The balance of life was delicate yet unshakable, a persistent harmony that both inspired awe and instilled humility. Noah's children had grown, their laughter now filling the open spaces with a lively joy. They learned early the rhythm of the land, the way the soil yielded to gentle hands, the patterns of sun and rain, the careful tending that encouraged growth rather than control. Their feet knew the paths where wildflowers bloomed, and their voices echoed softly with songs passed down, a celebration of life's fragile grace. In their learning, they discovered reverence, an understanding that true strength comes from respect and care. Each evening, as twilight wove shades of blue and violet across the sky, the family gathered near the ark, now aged and weathered, but standing steadfast as a monument to what had passed. The wood, worn smooth over time, held the memory of storms and shelter, of tears and prayers. Noah often traced the grains with his fingers, feeling the weight of history beneath his touch. It was a reminder not just of survival, but of the mercy and compassion that had carried them through the darkest hours. The ark was no longer simply a vessel, it was a sacred symbol, a sanctuary built of hope and faith. Their prayers were quiet, whispered beneath the vast canopy of stars. They offered thanks for the gift of this second chance, this open world alive with possibility. The cool night air seemed to carry their words upward, mingling with the shimmering constellations, as if the heavens themselves listened. There was no rush, no urgent clamor, only the soft pulse of gratitude and the calm certainty that in humility there is strength, and in patience there is peace. Noah often reflected on the gifts and lessons of the journey. The flood had been a great trial, one that had washed away much, but left a foundation anew. The crisis had shown the smallness of human grasp, the vastness of nature's power, and the delicate thread upon which life rests. But through it all, there was an enduring promise, a covenant written not on stone, but in the gentle unfolding of each new day. It was a promise of stewardship, of responsibility to tend and protect the earth as a sacred trust. The family's days were marked by rhythms learned from the land itself. They rose with the dawn to cultivate fields that blossomed with grain and vegetables, careful to never take more than the earth could give. They gathered seeds, saving each season's bounty to plant again, ensuring a cycle of renewal. The livestock, gentle and calm, were treated as companions rather than resources alone. Wolves and lambs roamed close by, symbols of coexistence achieved through peace, their quiet presence a gentle reminder that balance was both fragile and precious. In times of rest, Noah would sit beneath the ancient trees, whose branches stretched wide like arms embracing the sky. The canopy filtered sunlight into a mottled dance on moss and fallen leaves. There, the sounds of the forest were a soothing chorus, the trill of birds, the whisper of wind, the heartbeat of earth humus beneath his feet. His spirit found solace in that quiet, a stillness deeper than any storm, where worries could ease and the simple truth of existence felt clear and whole. Sometimes a soft rain would begin to fall, delicate drops that kissed the soil and refreshed the growing world. Noah watched as the earth drank eagerly, as blossoms seemed to stretch and open in gratitude, as streams swelled gently with life-giving water. Rain was no longer a threat, but a blessing renewed in every drop, a reminder of renewal's unending flow. It was in these moments that Noah felt the full measure of grace, deep, steady, and sustaining. The family's bond grew stronger with each passing season. Shared labor and shared hopes knit them together in unspoken understanding. When one was weary, the others offered support. When joy bubbled forth, it was multiplied in the telling. Their home was one of quiet rhythm and mutual care, where listening was as essential as speaking, and where every small kindness contributed to a sacred whole. Through these peaceful days, a profound transformation took place within Noah himself. The trials of the past did not weigh him down, but had refined his spirit like gold purified in fire. He learned that strength need not be harsh or commanding, but could be gentle and enduring. He understood that true leadership was a service, an act of love and stewardship rooted in hope rather than fear. The earth was a fragile gift, and he was its humble guardian. His wife's garden offered a daily lesson in patience and nurture. She sometimes invited the children to tend alongside her, teaching them the names and properties of plants, the healing power nestled in leaves, the calming scent of lavender, the bitter touch of wormwood. She spoke softly of the earth's mysteries, of the ways healing could be found not only in medicine but in care and connection. The children, in turn, grew curious about the creatures that shared their world. They observed bees busy among flowers, working tirelessly to pollinate. They watched as birds nested high in trees, caring for their young with quiet diligence. They learned to move gently and quietly, seeing their role not as conquerors of this land, but as participants in its sacred balance. As the seasons continued to turn, the world around them grew more vibrant and alive. Fields waved golden in the late summer breeze, and forests shimmered with the changing hues of autumn leaves. Winter's hush brought a chance to rest, beneath skies heavy with stars that told ancient stories. Each season was a lesson, a chapter in the ongoing story of their lives and the land's renewal. Noah often sat with his family beneath the night sky, their faces lit softly by firelight. They spoke of dreams and hopes, of the lessons they had learned and the future they wished to build. Their voices were gentle, woven with love and humility, echoing the quiet devotion of their daily work. It was in these moments that the true depth of their journey revealed itself, a journey not only across land and water, but into the heart of grace and gratitude. In the calm that settled over their lives, Noah touched the thriving world with reverence. Each plant, each animal, each breath of wind was a sacred thread in the fabric of existence. He knew that the story was far from over. The work of stewardship was endless, a tender trust passed from generation to generation. But he was ready, steady in resolve and wrapped in hope. As dawn arose once more, the earth glowed with the first light of a new day. The gentle cycle continued, carrying with it the quiet assurance of life's endurance. Noah and his family moved forward with open hearts, walking softly upon the land that had been given back to them. The ark stood behind them, a silent witness and sacred memory, while before them stretched the promise of every morning's light, the gift of a world reborn. Noah closed his eyes briefly, feeling the cool breeze brush across his face like a benediction. A deep peace filled him, wide as the sky, steady as the earth beneath his feet. In that stillness, he found the strength to live fully, to love fully, and to guard this fragile gift with faithful hands. It was a life transformed, quiet, enduring, blessed, and in that transformation, he found grace. The dawn came softly, its light spilling tenderly over the horizon, brushing the trees and fields with the faintest pink and gold. Noah rose before the sun, his heart full of a quiet hope that seemed to mingle with the gentle breeze. The earth beneath his feet was still moist from the retreating rains, and the air held the sweet scent of renewal. It was as if the very soul of the world whispered encouragement to those who cared to listen. He stepped outside, feeling the coolness of the soil between his fingers as he touched the earth. It was a living thing, breathing, shifting, eager for new growth. Noah knelt and pressed his hands into the soft ground, silently thanking the Creator for this renewed chance. Life, he knew, was a gift that revealed itself not only in abundance, but in patience and perseverance. His wife appeared beside him, carrying a small basket of seeds, wildflowers, vegetables, and fragrant herbs. She smiled gently, the lines of her face deepened by kindness and quiet strength. Together they planted the first row of new shoots, each seed a promise of the future, a testament to faith and care. The children gathered close, their eyes wide with wonder, their fingers eager to feel the earth's texture. Noah's wife knelt with them, instructing softly on how each seed needed sunlight and water, but also tenderness and respect. "The earth is our partner," she explained. "We listen, and it will tell us how to tend to it. It is never ours to own, only to cherish. Noah watched their curiosity bloom like the tiny green shoots beneath their hands. His heart swelled with pride, not for his strength or wisdom alone, but for this circle of life, encircling them with love and learning. Here, in this moment, he glimpsed the deeper meaning of stewardship, a lifelong dance with the rhythms of the earth. As days unfolded into weeks, the family's routine blossomed with new rhythms. Mornings began with soft hymns, their voices mingling with birdsong. The children learned to identify the calls of the sparrow and the song thrush, connecting their spirits to the natural world that was reawakening all around them. Noah's wife taught them to gather herbs for healing, the subtle applications of each leaf and flower, a quiet lesson in honoring life's delicate balance. The seasons marched gently onward. Spring ripened into summer, the sun's warmth caressing fields of green and gold. Noah found himself marveling at the cycles of growth, the way the land could be both tender and strong, persistent and yielding. Each season etched its story in the soil and in their hearts, teaching them resilience, humility, and hope. Evenings were a sacred time. The family would sit beneath the vast canopy of the night sky, the stars shimmering like scattered jewels. They shared stories, some ancient, and others their own discoveries. Noah would speak softly of lessons learned beneath storm clouds, reminding his children that strength often grew from stillness and surrender, not from force. In this deep communion, the children shared their dreams, some gentle, some bold, and Noah listened attentively. He recognized in their aspirations the living thread of promise that wove through all generations. Love, he understood more deeply now, was the wellspring from which all courage and leadership flowed. The ark stood silent behind their home, a steadfast guardian of memory. Its rough timbers bore witness to the trials faced and the grace received. But Noah no longer saw it merely as a vessel of survival. It had become a symbol, a reminder that life was precious, that renewal was possible, and that faith must be lived through humble and constant care. One late afternoon, as the golden light tipped the trees with amber, Noah walked alone through the fields. He paused by a stream where the water chuckled over smooth stones, clear as a crystal mirror. In the quiet, he felt the pulse of the earth beneath his feet and the steady rhythm of his own breath. He closed his eyes and offered a silent prayer, not for greatness or acclaim, but for the wisdom to remain faithful to his calling. He asked for the grace to be a guardian who listens, who serves, who loves without condition. The peace he found in that moment was profound, like a soft current flowing through his soul, steadying and strong. Returning home, he saw his family gathered, working side by side, their laughter mingling with the gentle rustle of leaves. Noah smiled, knowing that this was the essence of grace, that life, even after great trials, could be gentle, vibrant, and whole. In the days that followed, he continued to tend the garden of both earth and spirit. Each seed planted, each lesson taught, each moment shared, was a testament to the enduring promise of renewal. Love, care, and humility were threads woven into the fabric of their days, binding them to one another and to the world that cradled them. And as the sun dipped low, casting a golden glow over the horizon, Noah's heart was full. The past storms had shaped him, but they did not define him. He was a steward now, steadfast, gentle, and ever watchful, walking forward with a devotion that carried the quiet strength of a deeply rooted tree. The story of the world had been rewritten in the lives of those who dared to believe in new beginnings. Noah found favor not in the storms, but in the calm that followed, in the loving hands that nurtured the earth, and in the faithful arts that embraced life's endless grace. Here, in the softly fading light, the future whispered gently, a promise held close, nurtured by hands that understood true strength, and bound by a love that would not waver. In the quiet hours of dawn, as the world softened beneath a pale wash of rose and gold, Noah rose once more. The air was cool, fresh with the scent of dew, and earth stirred awake. Around him his family moved softly, each heart attuned to the rhythm of the morning. The ark stood poised beyond the garden, a silent sentinel, steady and still, its wood weathered but unyielding, a testament to grace through endurance. Noah's thoughts drifted to the seasons yet to come, to the lessons they would bring, to the tender mercy of time unfolding slowly. He found himself grateful for the deep roots they had planted, not just in the soil, but in one another. These roots held them firm, even when storms loomed in shadow far beyond their fields. His wife's voice, gentle and sure, called softly from the hearth. Come, the children gather the first herbs. There is a quiet magic in life that begins small, yet carries great power. Noah stepped into the fragrant morning, mindful of the fragile world beneath his feet. Together, the family moved among the plants, hands brushing leaves, gathering healing leaves and blossoms with careful reverence. The children listened as their mother spoke of each herb's story, their uses, their spirit. The gathering was more than sustenance. It was a sacred ritual, a celebration of life's persistent goodness. Noah watched as his eldest daughter paused to examine a tendril of wild thyme. Her eyes reflected the delicate promise of springtime mornings. These moments, he realized, were their true inheritance, not the timber of the ark, nor the broad fields under sky, but the wisdom etched quietly into the soft earth of their home and hearts. The work of the day awaited, but Noah first knelt briefly against the cool ground. His hands touched the soil with gratitude. Life was tenacious, and so were they. His prayers were simple, a whisper carried by the breeze, peace for the earth, courage for their journey, love to guide each step. Noon brought warmth and song. The family gathered beneath the sprawling embrace of an old elm tree. Laughter mingled with stories of days past, of birds seen and skies watched. Noah spoke softly to his sons about the wind's steady patterns, the flight of hawks, the silent pathways across the mountains. You see, he said, voice steady and kind, each creature carries a purpose. To watch, to fly, to build home. Each is a teacher if we have the eyes to learn. His children nodded, their faces bright with curiosity and calm understanding. Even as the sun climbed higher, the ark remained a gentle presence just ahead. It was more than wood and nails. It was hope shaped by faith and the promise of shelter in the wildness. Noah remembered the nights spent shaping its beams, the prayers whispered into each plank, the quiet resolve that held everything together. As the day gentled into evening, the family gathered once more beneath the stars. The air had cooled, wrapped in the soft hush of twilight. There were no grand words, only the weaving of simple truths like threads of light in the darkness. Noah shared stories of resilience, of how faith had lit the darkest paths, how love had carved out spaces of joy, even in times of trial. One by one, his children spoke of their dreams, bright flickers amid the vast night sky, a dream to heal, to build, to understand the world with kindness and bravery. Noah listened, heart full. Each dream was a seed, promising new blooms in seasons yet to come. Before rest, he gathered them close. Remember, he whispered, strength does not come from beyond, but from within, rooted deep in love, watered by courage, and nurtured by grace. In these moments, Noah felt an abiding peace. The past was a circle they had walked together, the future a path illuminated by steady lights of hope. The ark was a symbol, yes, but the true vessel carried within their hearts, their faith, their commitment, their gentle stewardship over life and spirit. Night deepened, the stars burned soft and sure. Noah's family slept beneath their canopy, cradled by the earth and sky. Tomorrow would dawn, as it always did, with new calls and new songs to learn, with hands ready to tend both soil and soul. He rested too, a steady guardian shaped by past storms, yet defined by the calm that follows. The world was wide and waiting, and he was ready to live in faith, to love deeply, to guide with humility and strength. Noah found favor not just in the sight of others, but in the quiet witness of the earth, the whisper of wind, and the endless spark of love that lit every prayer, every lesson, every breath. And so, beneath the vast, timeless sky, their story continued, not as a tale of survival alone, but as a living prayer of hope, a testament to grace, carried forward by hearts intertwined with the gentle pulse of a world renewing itself again and again. As the first light of dawn stretched softly across the horizon, Noah awoke to the gentle whisper of the wind through the leaves. The world around him held a stillness that seemed sacred, a quiet invitation to begin again. He rose slowly, aware of the deep rest that had settled within his bones, a gift of the night's peace. His footsteps led him outside, where the garden breathed quietly beneath a pale sky. Dew clung like tiny jewels to every blade of grass, every petal of a blossom opening to the new day. The healing plants, tended carefully the day before, stood resilient and green, their fragrance a gentle balm to the senses. Noah knelt and touched the earth, feeling its cool, steady heartbeat. He thought of the promise they carried forward, not in the walls of the ark, nor the timber that formed its steadfast frame, but in the seedlings of hope they nurtured within themselves and their children. This promise was woven through every leaf, every story, every prayer uttered beneath the wide arch of heaven. The morning air was filled with the soft murmur of awakening life. Birds flitted from branch to branch, their songs like threads of melody stitching the world back together after the long quiet. Noah's children stirred awake, their faces bright with curiosity, ready for the lessons the day would bring. Gathered once more beneath the elm tree, the family settled into the familiar space where stories and wisdom had taken root. The children's eyes gleamed with anticipation as Noah spoke quietly of the things he had seen and learned. "Nature has been our greatest teacher," he said gently, his voice blending with the rustling leaves. "Every creature, every plant, every breath reminds us that we are part of a much greater song." He pointed to the busy ants marching along the bark. "See them? They work together, each one carrying its weight for the good of the whole. From them we learn cooperation and care." A vine curled its way around the elm's sturdy trunk, and Noah traced its spiral with his fingers. This vine wraps gently but firmly, holding on to support. It teaches us that strength often comes from connection and trust. His words settled over them like a soft blanket. The children listened closely, learning once more the language of the earth, a language that spoke not in hurried words, but in quiet lessons, enduring and patient. As the sun climbed higher, Noah led the family to the garden. Together, they tended the sacred herb garden, their hands gentle yet purposeful. The children learned how to prune and nurture, understanding that just as plants needed care to flourish, so too did their hearts and spirits. Noah's wife joined him there, her presence a warm current winding through the family's circle. She gathered fragrant lavender, chamomile, and mint, laying them in a woven basket. "These plants heal more than bodies," she said with a smile. "They mend the soul's weary places." Noah watched as the children inhaled the sweet scents, their small faces relaxing into peaceful smiles. He felt again the power of these simple gifts from the earth, the way they could soothe restless minds, inspire calm hearts, and ignite hope anew. The afternoon unfolded with a softness that invited reflection. Noah held his youngest close as he spoke of resilience, the inner strength that stands firm amid life's storms. He reminded the children that while the world outside sometimes seemed unpredictable and wild, the light within could guide them safely through. They shared quiet moments imagining the future, dreams blossoming like the wildflowers nearby. One child spoke of healing broken places, another of building homes filled with laughter, a third of understanding the world through kindness and patience. Noah listened deeply, letting their vision settle gently in his heart. He knew each dream was a seed, waiting to take root in fertile soil, nurtured by love and faith. Evening came wrapped in the soft glow of twilight, and the family gathered once again beneath the elm. The sky shifted to shades of rose and lavender, and the first stars began to appear, distant sparks of hope glittering against the deepening blue. Noah's voice was calm as he shared stories of those who came before, of strength born from struggle, of faith that kindled light in darkness. His words were like a quiet river, steady and soothing, carrying them softly toward rest. One by one, the children spoke of what they had learned that day, their words a gentle echo of the wisdom that surrounded them. True strength, they said, was not in power or possessions, but in the courage to love and the grace to forgive. In the stillness beneath the stars, Noah felt a profound gratitude for the journey, for the lessons, for this sacred gift of being together. The ark, though silent in the fading light, stood strong behind them, a testament not just to survival, but to hope renewed every day. As night deepened, the family retreated to rest, their breaths slow and even, mingling with the quiet rhythm of earth and sky. Noah lay awake for a moment longer, eyes tracing the constellations above, feeling the vastness and the intimacy of the universe all at once. Within him was a steady flame of faith, small but unyielding, a light to carry him onward through whatever days may come. Tomorrow was a new beginning, another chapter in a story ancient and ever new. And with each breath, each quiet moment of connection, Noah knew that they were exactly where they needed to be, moving forward with courage, love, and a humble spirit. Morning light spilled softly across the gentle hills, brushing the leaves with a whispering gold. Noah rose with the dawn, his breath steadied, his heart calm. Outside, the air was fresh with promise, carrying the scent of damp earth and blooming wildflowers. He moved quietly, careful not to disturb his sleeping family. The world was still murmuring its ancient lullaby, as if encouraging patience and deep peace. He walked toward the ark, standing weathered but proud on the high ridge. Its wooden ribs stretched wide as if cradling the heavens themselves. His hands traced the familiar grain of the wood, worn smooth by time and tireless care. In its strength he saw not only the vessel of their journey, but a cradle for hope, a safeguard for the future. The ark was their covenant, a quiet testimony to faith born in steadfastness and humility. Noah turned his gaze up to the sky, now painted in hues of soft peach and lavender. Clouds drifted lazily, like old friends sharing secrets. Somewhere beyond the horizon, the sun released its tender warmth, coaxing the world to awake gently. He breathed in that warmth, feeling it settle into his bones, renewing his spirit for the day to come. Near the herb garden, the children already stirred. They gathered slowly, their movements as delicate as the petals of the blossoms they cared for. Noah smiled softly. Each child carried the gentle glow of newfound understanding, bravery and kindness, strength and gentleness. His wife knelt beside the sacred soil, her fingers brushing through the tender shoots. She spoke quietly to the plants, as if to old companions sharing an unspoken trust. Noah watched this scene with quiet gratitude. The garden was their sanctuary, a place of sacred lesson and silent nurturance. "Come," Noah called softly, beckoning the eldest child to join him near the garden. "Let us speak together of care and courage, and how both are born from the same heart." The child approached eagerly, eyes bright with curiosity and respect. Noah's voice lulled in steady cadence, like the breeze that stirred the green leaves overhead. "See how these plants grow," he said. "They reach toward the light, but they also drink deeply from the soil below. They must remain rooted, even when the wind blows hard or the rains fall heavy. So it is with us, our hopes and dreams reach toward the sky, but our hearts must always stay grounded, in love, patience, and humility." The child nodded, small hands gently touching the cool leaves. "Like the vines we saw yesterday," the child whispered, twisting and holding each other up. "Yes," Noah replied, "always lifting one another, never alone." In that moment, a gentle breeze stirred the garden, carrying faint notes of mint and sweet basil. The children inhaled deeply, their breath filling spaces where worry once dwelled. Their eyes glistened with awe and quiet resolve. Later, as the sun climbed higher, the family gathered again beneath the elm tree. Noah's wife held freshly gathered herbs, their fragrances mingling in the warm air. She shared stories of healing, not just for the body, but the soul's quiet wounds. There was peppermint for soothing restless minds, sage for clearing doubt, lavender for calming fear, and rosemary for remembrance. Each herb spoke its own language of comfort and strength. Noah watched the children lean into these teachings, their faces softening like petals unfolding in the morning light. With every tale, every softened gaze, he saw the threads of hope weaving a tapestry stronger than before. "The world beyond these hills is vast and sometimes wild," Noah said quietly as dusk approached. "But within us, and among us, is a garden of peace we can cultivate. Tenderness grows there, even through hardship." His voice seemed to blend with the rustle of the elm leaves, the twilight whisper of night creatures awaking. The children listened, their eyes reflecting stars yet to be born. The night deepened. Around the flicker of a small fire, Noah's stories turned gentle and wise. Tales of courage born in dark moments, of kindness given without expectation, of forgiveness flowing like a soft river that carves through stone over time. Each word fell slowly, like a steady rain soaking deep into thirsty earth, preparing for blossoming to come. One child spoke softly. "I think I understand now, Father. Strength is not about being loud or fierce. It is about love that stays even when it is hard." A hush settled over the circle. Noah's heart swelled with quiet pride. "Exactly," he said. "And love is the foundation of all we cherish. The ark we build is strong, but it is love that carries us through the storms. It is courage to trust in what is unseen. It is humility to learn and grow every day. The children leaned close, as if holding his words like precious stones. They shared dreams again, of homes built not of wood alone but of trust, of gardens that heal both earth and heart, of kindness spreading like wildflowers across forgotten places. Noah felt the profound grace of this moment, like the soft glow of dawn warming all the hills in its tender light. He remembered the long journey they had traveled together, the lessons from the ants and vines, the healing herbs, the stories beneath the elm, each step a seed planted deeply in love and faith. As the fire's glow faded and the children's eyes grew heavy with sleep, Noah embraced the quiet night. The stars spun slowly overhead, ancient and steady. In their vastness, he felt both small and infinitely connected, a part of a grand story still unfolding. He thought of the waters that had once covered the earth, the promise that had lifted him and his family beyond fear. And though the world was still filled with unknowns, his spirit held an unshakable trust. This trust was a flame kindled in stillness, nurtured by every lesson of love and courage. When the last embers died to ash, Noah whispered a prayer, grateful for the grace that had brought them here, and for the new day just beginning. He lay down, cradled by the earth, his heart steady as the rhythm of the universe itself. Tomorrow, he knew, would bring new challenges and blessings, but with love as their compass, kindness as their strength, and faith as their guide, they would walk steadily forward, together. Noah found his rest.